So, good day everyone. My name is Bailey Taihan. I'm a student in Bachelor of Early Childhood Education, section Year 1, Section 8. So, today I will be discussing another four topics under the teaching profession. These topics are education policy, communication and collaboration. The third one we have reflective practice, and the last one we have specialization. So to start with, let us first discuss about education policy. So since we know the nature of education, the meaning of education, we are now going to proceed first to what is policy. So policy is a course, something we produce, or a plan of action to influence and determine decisions, actions, and other matters, of course. So when we correlate it to the word education, it will be education policy. So, what is education policy? Education policy is a set of principles or actions that um, that is policies that are related to educational issues. Of course, since it is related to education, so when we say education policy, it is policies that relates to educational issues. So it determines to bring about the desired goals on a specific educational issue. So, uh, education policy is also the basis of policy analysis, and it has also several strengths. So, why do educational leaders implement or produce these education policies? So, in order for us students or in order for the learners to have a quality education, to have an efficient and effective or successful learning and studying in school, these policies are being implemented. So, for example, there are policies that in school, be it be in public or private schools, bullying is not allowed. No, vandalism is also one policy that is being implemented in our schools. So our second topic is communication and collaboration. So what is communication and collaboration? First, communication. What is communication? Well, for me, communication is being able to interact or conversations with other people, with a group of people effectively and successfully. You know, when we say communication, it's not about just having the speaking skills, but also having the listening skills. Because it's not called a communication, because communication is a two-way process. So if we say that communication is all about speaking skills, it is untrue because communication should be about speaking and listening. So when you are communicating, you should be able to speak effectively, to speak clearly, and to be able to listen clearly and give feedback, of course. When we say collaboration, collaboration is doing something or engaging into something with other people, collaborating with them to do something, to reach a goal, right? So in the teaching profession, communication and collaboration. So communication and collaboration are very essential skills, especially for education leaders or educational leaders, which determines to have or develop and improve their communication skills and collaboration skills, of course, of the children or the students or the learners. So, communication and collaboration. It is abilities, of course, abilities to speak, to listen, to share your thoughts, your ideas, and of course, it is also the ability to give feedbacks or reactions to who you're communicating with. It is also one way to become an efficient teacher, especially for us who will be teaching or future educators of early childhood. So it is very, um, crucial and very essential. Communication is very crucial and essential for us future educators because we have to know, we have to assess how to communicate with them effectively, successfully. How do we make them understand us? How do we make ourselves understand them? So that is communication and collaboration. And of course, communication and collaboration um, is also making students or assessing yourself how to communicate or make students collaborate with each other because of course you will not be handling a one-on-one student except if you are a tutor, so that will be a one-on-one learning, right? So if what if you're in a classroom, right? So you will not be talking to just one child. We will be talking to a lot of them. We will be creating strategies for them, for us to communicate with all of them. How do we make this? How do I make this child understand me? How do I make this child understand me? Since they have different perspectives, they have different ideas, right? Some of them will get you immediately, will understand your topic immediately. But what what if there are others that will not um, uh, adapt immediately? So how do you get them to collaborate or communicate with you? Right? So that is communication and collaboration. So our next topic is reflective practice. So reflective practice in the teaching profession is it is a process in which education leaders assess themselves or evaluate themselves to become become more efficient, and become more effective educators. So they have um, the goal to improve or develop themselves for the students, for the learners' quality education. And of course, reflective practice um, encourages them to look back or to think back about what they have, discussed today, what plans or strategies or methods they have used today, and it helps them to reflect on themselves. Reflective practice is very beneficial to both the student and the instructor because, as for the instructor, he or she will determine in what aspect of the teaching profession did they lack, what aspect do they have to improve, right? And also, it is also very beneficial to the students because when the teachers assess themselves or reflect themselves or reflect their practices, teaching methods, strategies inside the classroom, it also means that the students will gain something from it too, right? It will make them more engaging, or maybe the new strategy or the new method that the instructor will practice will make the classroom more fun and exciting, right? So it has it is a process, or it has different processes. It depends to the instructor on how he or she will implement that process to himself or herself. So it is very beneficial to the students also, uh, because of course students, learners, they or us, we deserve quality education. So we might get bored if the same strategy or method is being used. And when the teacher and when the teacher realizes that, oh, it's getting boring, using the same strategy or method, well, then it means that it motivates them. It motivates them to, then I have to do something about this, and I have to practice. What do I do to make this subject or this class more, collaborative, right? To make the students more engaging, more attentive, more excited about the topic that I am going to be tackling about. So what will I do? That's it. That's for the reflective practice. Because, teachers are also humans as well. They did not just um, evolve immediately to be effective instructors or education leaders. It does not happen overnight. You know, um, the biggest the biggest space in the world is the space for improvement, because we as students we also have improvements to ourselves, right? So instructors also have reflective practices because they know that they also have something to improve about themselves. You know, it's okay to make a mistake, or it's okay to lack something, because that does not stop you, but it encourages us to be effective educators in the future. Oh, I'm lacking speaking skills, I'm lacking my confidence, so I have to improve this to be an effective educator. So that is what a reflective practice is. And for our very last topic, which is specialization, this will be very brief, since I know a lot of us have a background about specialization in the teaching profession. So specialization, it is studying, engaging, or going into a specific area of learning. Specialization helps teachers or education leaders to be more effective leaders or education leaders. When you have your own specialization, it's much easier because you have studied this, you have learned about this, the different methods, different strategies to use, right? So I'm not saying it's easy, but it makes your work a lot more easier. If you have a specialization, you know about your specialization, you're knowledgeable about that because that is your specialization, right? So yes, specialization also helps education leaders to uh, be productive, because when you are having a specialization, when you're specialized about something specific, right? So you know the strategies and the methods, the ways that you have to implement. So then you will be motivated to do this, to do that, to improve this, to improve that, because it is under your specialization, which makes you more productive and efficient. It will be making you more uh, of a successful education leader. So specialization can also give us skills, right? When you're studying into a specific specialization, that does not mean that you are very skillful into that thing or that specialization. Just because I enrolled in the early childhood education does not make me a very skillful educator for small children. So we still lack skills. I still lack skills. So that's why I'm having this specialization because I want to gain that skill. I want to learn about that skill. I want to improve about that skill. So when you are not knowledgeable or you're not very skillful about a specific skill under that specialization, then you will be improving that to yourself. You will be implementing that skill or you will be practicing that skill because you have the aim to be an effective educator. So then you have to have that skill. So then if you're not very skillful about that specific specialization, then you're very lucky because you have gained that skill under your specialization, which makes you more credible. You know, specialization also gives us credibility. So I think that's all. I hope you understood the topics, even though I only gave brief and short explanations. So that will be all. Again, the topics that we covered today are um, education policy, communication and collaboration, reflective practice, and specialization. I hope you will remember those topics, especially if you are um, trying to learn about the teaching profession because it is very essential topics that can also be very beneficial to us. So that's all, and I hope you have a good day ahead.